of the MMAOB Daily podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. I'll be taking you guys through the latest in the world of mixed martial arts. Guys, follow me on Twitter at Adam Martin. This podcast is available at MMAOddsbreaker.com, on our YouTube channel. Like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Also, check me out at bjpenn.com and MMA Rings on net. So, a couple pieces of news to talk about today, a couple fight announcements. Definitely going to be a good show. One thing I do want to note was still no Bellator odds. So, don't know why these guys are taking so long with the odds, but the card's tomorrow night, and we only have the odds for the main event still. I kind of had a feeling this would happen. They've been kind of slow with the Bellator odds pretty much all year. So, hey, I wish Nick was doing them again. Nick got them out like on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. Now it's Friday, and we have the card tomorrow, no odds. So we have Mitchell and Karatanov still pick them. That's it. Hopefully the odds go out tonight, so you guys can get your bets in for tomorrow night. But, yeah, there's quite a few good fights in the card. I talked about yesterday, broke it down. Was looking forward to talking about the odds today, but we have nothing. So let's just get right in the news. First thing that I want to talk about was, of course, Conor McGregor speaking out yesterday about the bar incident. Basically, he says he's remorseful, and he says he shouldn't have did it. And that was about it. He talked about returning to the octagon. He says maybe later this year, next year. He wants a Beeb. But mostly, I don't know. Like, the interview itself, like, Ariel did a good job with the interview, and it was a long interview. I saw some clips from it. But, man, I don't know what's going on with Conor. Like, he just didn't seem right to me. I don't know. Like, didn't seem like the same guy he was a couple years ago. Something is definitely off with him. Not sure what's going on in his personal life right now, but clearly the guy's got some issues. So he's got to get that worked out. The guy's a great fighter, man. I love watching Conor McGregor fight, but the last years it's been crazy. The bus incident last April, the cell phone smashing incident, now the bar punching incident. Just too much stuff going on outside the octagon with him, and you have to really wonder what's going on in his personal life. So, as a fighter, I think Conor McGregor is amazing, but as a person, I don't know, and this is a great segue to my next point, where I want to talk about Firas Zahabi's interview. Firas Zahabi, not interview, but he did a podcast, and he ripped into Conor McGregor. I've never heard Firas Zahabi this fired up before. I have the quotes over at bjpenn.com. I'm just going to read some of the quotes right now because, man, he was fired up. Firas Zahabi was very upset at Conor McGregor, and let me read some quotes. He says, "It's indefensible. There is no defense for this except McGregor is a pathetic, sorry excuse for a human being. How do you punch an old man because he doesn't want to drink your whiskey? Who can defend this? You punch an old man and then run? What a disgusting display. I don't care how much money you have or how famous you are. If this isn't the type of person you are, then your value is zero. I'm sorry I have to say this. This is an embarrassment to MMA. It's an embarrassment to us all when the media say MMA people are savages. When they say they're animals, when they say MMA fighters are brutal, they are savages. This is now going to be harder for us to defend." And, I posted the article at BJ Penn, and I was reading the comments. I wanted to see what people had to say. And it seemed like most people agreed with Firas Zahabi, and I kind of agree with him too. I mean, really, what did he say that's wrong here? The guy sucker punched an old guy in a bar and got away with it because he's rich and famous. It's sad. If this me or you guys, we'd be in jail right now. So to me, it's ridiculous. What he did, and he gets away with this stuff. Speaking of the victim, he did speak out as well. He talked a little bit yesterday, and I don't think they revealed his identity. They just said he's a 50-year-old man. He just said that he can take a punch, and he basically said what the reports said, and that he refused to drink the guy's whiskey and then got punched in the face, and he said he could take a punch. So, man, that guy's taking it like a champ, and I don't know exactly what's going on as far as civil or criminal proceedings, but I'd imagine he would try to get some money out of this. Like I would, if I got punched in the face by someone as rich as Conor. So we'll see what happens with that guy. I mean, he's tough as nails. He took a Conor McGregor straight left to the face or left hook to the face and survived it. So good for that guy. But man, it's just sad that it's gone. Just a few other Frost quotes that I want to talk about quickly. He said, "There are so few things I will lose it on. This is one of them. If I was there when this incident happened, believe me, I wouldn't have went well. I would have got up out of my chair. I would have been very upset. You don't punch an old person in the face. I don't care what the old man said. What if he insulted him? Who cares? It's an old man. Maybe the old man has dementia. If some old man walks up to me and calls me a motherfucker or whatever he says to me, I would say, 'Sir, can I help you across the street?' I don't care if the man curses me out. He's an old man. You cannot strike an old man." I agree 100% with Frost here. I mean, how could you not? For everything Frost said was very reasonable and very measured, and he's 100% right. He also said he was quick to praise the Irish fans. I want to mention that quickly as well. He said, I've been to Ireland many times. I love the Irish people. I love Ireland. They're such great human beings. They're close-knit people. They are positive people. Their energy is amazing, but I am 99% sure of Irish people who saw that disgusted by the incident, and I'm 99% sure his coaching staff's disgusted as well. Everyone's disgusted. Don't care what the old man said. There's no reason to hit that old man. It's disgusting. So Firas Zahabi's YouTube thing just went crazy yesterday, went viral, and for good reason. Everything he said is correct, and listen, like I said, I love Conor McGregor as a fighter, but as a person, he's just got a lot of issues, and it's just crazy because when he came up, he was like the humblest guy, and then obviously you got rich, you got famous, but I don't think this happens to everyone who gets rich and famous, but unfortunately it did happen to Conor McGregor where he just feels like he's above the law now, and that's really unfortunate. And the other thing I wanted to mention was Dana White just basically trying to push this under the rug. I get it. Like, I get Conor McGregor's a big draw. I get that he's one of their cash cows. But you know what? The UFC's been doing just fine without Conor for the last year. And I feel like they'll do just fine without him going forward. I don't think they need Conor McGregor to have a successful business. So if I'm Dana White, I really do think they should come out and make a statement and say that, we've suspended this guy or whatever. Because the truth is, what he did was completely wrong. And he basically has admitted to it now, so I can say he punched the guy in the bar. He's admitted to it. It's not alleged anymore. He did it, and yeah, it's just sad. It's just a sad thing that's happened, and glad that guy's okay. I mean, geez, if I got punched in the face by Conor, I'm pretty sure I would have been knocked out. So good for that guy for taking that punch. But Conor McGregor, he's kind of taking responsibility. Not really. I don't think. I was a little disappointed by his statement yesterday. That's just me though. All right, a couple other things to talk about, and then a few fight announcements. Scott Coker was interviewed before Bellator 225 yesterday, and he talked about Cris Cyborg. He says Bellator was talking to her, and Adia Tar, who's her manager, is probably talking to other promotions as well, which I think is news we've already heard. PFL is interested, One Championship. I think Rising's probably interested, but I do think Bellator is going to get her. Scott Coker just basically said they're trying to work out something that makes sense for both sides. To me, it's a marriage that makes a lot of sense, and Cris Cyborg versus Julia Budd would be a great fight. And he also talked about Cat Zingano. And he said that Bellator is actually interested in Cat Zingano, but I don't know if those conversations have started. The whole Cat Zingano thing is kind of strange the way she was released. She said she had some personal projects going on, and that's why she had to be released. Kind of weird, right? Like, there's so many fighters that take multiple years off. Look at Matt Wyman; he took 5 years off. He was probably doing some personal projects too, and he came back to the UFC. So it's kind of weird that Cat Zingano was given her full release, but you'd have to imagine that there was other stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. All right, a couple of fight announcements here that I want to talk about. There's some good fights coming up for sure. UFC 244. So UFC 244 right now does not have a main event, but it really is looking like Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman. And I should mention Colby Covington. I think the media was all down at American Top Team yesterday, interviewing Colby with his new Queen of Chaos. And I personally loved the video. I thought it was a great shtick by Colby. I don't know if that's his girlfriend or just another chick he hired, because he seems to hire a lot of them, but they had good chemistry, man. And I was looking at the comments, and people kind of agreed. They said, this girl is perfect for Colby. So, good for Colby. And I do think the Usman-Colby fight makes sense as that main event. But one fight that was officially announced for that card, a middleweight bout between Krzysztof Jotko and Edmen Shahbazyan. So I like this fight a lot. Jotko is a really good fighter, as we all know. He's 8-4 in the UFC. So very good record in the UFC, coming off 2 straight wins over Marc-Andre Barriault and Alan Amedovski. He has looked pretty good lately, bouncing back from that 3-fight losing streak. They saw him nearly retire from the sport. He's only 30 years old, Jotko is. Trains at ATT. He's a really good fighter, like I said. And he takes on Shahbazyan here, 21 years old, one of the youngest guys in the UFC. A perfect 10-0 in his career, a perfect 3-0 in the UFC. Smashed Jack Marshman, smashed Charles Bird, won a close fight against Darren Stewart, which looking back now is actually a really good win. His brother just fought on Contender Series earlier this week and lost. But I think Edmen's actually a lot better than his brother. His knockout power is ridiculous. We can see some submission skills from him now. I think this kid's the real deal. I was thinking about this the other day. The amount of champions we've seen in MMA and in UFC, especially over the years, of guys that we never expected to hold a belt or that we thought would never take that next leap and eventually became a champion. I think Edmen Shahbazyan one day will hold a championship belt. I think this kid is that good. I do believe he will be a future world champion in the UFC. Obviously, the UFC is taking the slow build to him. He's fighting a guy that's on the bubble of the top 15. But you know what? I like that. I like that they're taking it slow. They've rushed so many guys in the past. Sage Northcutt, Paige Van Zandt. We can go on and on the amount of prospects the UFC's rushed, but I think they're taking a nice slow build here with Edmen Shahbazyan. I think Jotko's the next perfect matchup, logical matchup. And I think it's a fight he wins. So I like Edmen Shahbazyan in this fight. We don't have odds, obviously. The fight's a couple months away. But I do expect him to be a favorite, although it's crazy, right? Because he's barely been the favorite in his last couple of fights. He's always at good odds, even though the guy's amazing. A couple other fights here. UFC China, Movsar Evloev takes on Zhenhong Liu. So Evloev fought earlier this year. I'm just pulling out his profile. Evloev is 11-0. He fought earlier this year against Sung Woo Choi, won decision in that fight in his UFC debut at that was the Overeem Olina card. The guy's definitely a good prospect. A lot of finishes. Didn't finish his UFC debut, but you could tell that this guy is a very solid fighter. Good wrestling, good striking, good submissions. Takes on Zhenhong Liu, who is 16-6 according to Sherdog here. I don't know if that's right. Let me double check on Tapology because it says on Sherdog he's coming off a loss. And imagine he's coming off a win. Yes. According to Tapology, he is actually coming off a win in his last fight by submission. But just looking at his record, he's fought all over China. So he has fought Movsar Evloev before. So this is actually a rematch. That's interesting. They fought back in 2015 in M1 Challenge, and Evloev won a decision. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen again. You'd have to think he wins this fight. And this guy actually, Zhenhong Liu, he actually has fought a couple of notable names. He's fought Charles Crazy Horse Bennett. He beat him by TKO. And it says quarter stoppage of 5 seconds in the first round. That's weird. I'll have to check that fight out at some point. It's very strange. And he also lost to Shane Young, who's in the UFC right now as well. So, and Azamat Gashimov, who I think was in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. Azamat Gashimov. Yes, he was. Another guy was in the UFC. So, that's interesting. He actually has some decent experience. But either way, I like Evloev. That card's next week. I think we only have the odds for the main event as well. As of right now, that card's not been moved. It looks like it's going to take place in China, but with all the political uproar going on there, uprest, I should say, who knows? Maybe that event will be moved. But as of right now, that card's going to take place in China. UFC Russia gets a new fight announced. That card's in, I believe, November. Shamil Gamzatov takes on Klidson Abreu. Shamil Gamzatov, let's take a look at this guy. He is 13-0. Yes, I figured I saw his name before. He was in PFL last year. So he went 2-0 in PFL. I guess they released him for whatever reason. He has a couple decent wins. Eddie Gordon, Rodney Wallace, Teddy Holder. Those are okay wins. So this guy is definitely someone I recognize. Been fighting since 2012. A lot of his wins by stoppage, but his last 3 by decision. So interesting here that the UFC signed him away from the PFL. You thought PFL would bring him back for their second season. And he takes on Klidson Abreu, who's coming off a win over Sam Alvey, the biggest win of his career. He's 15-3 in his career. Actually, he does have a win over Johnny Walker too, but that was earlier in Johnny Walker's career. It was 4 years ago. I guess that would be the biggest one. But either way, and he's a solid fighter. He did lose to Magomed Ankalaev in his UFC debut, but the win over Sam Alvey, I think, showed that this guy can be competitive with some of the better light heavyweights. So Klidson Abreu is a solid fighter. We'll see what happens in this fight. The fight actually didn't take place at middleweight, so he's going to be dropping down weight class, which I think makes sense because he did have a little bit of pudge around his belly, so that makes sense. Hard to say who I like in this one. They're both pretty solid, but maybe Gamzatov. Also, the other fight also I want to mention quickly, UFC Copenhagen gets another fight. Danilo Belluardo takes on Madsen. Belluardo, I believe he lost his UFC debut. Yes, he's 12-4 in his career, and he lost his UFC debut by TKO to Joel Alvarez. But prior to that, he had won 6 straight fights. So he did have some good finishes, and he takes on Olympic medalist Marco Madsen. So Marco Madsen won a silver medal at the 2006 Games in Rio, and he represents Denmark. So he's a Danish fighter with a great wrestling pedigree. Let me just check his record in MMA. This guy's interesting for sure. Looks like a good signing here by the UFC. Marco Madsen, Sherdog. Let's take a look here. 8-0, 34 years old, so he's an older guy. But 8-0, and he's fought in Cage Warriors and a couple other European events. He actually made his debut in 2013 and fought in 2014, then took a 4-year break, I'm assuming, to train for the Olympics. And then since he's come back, he's 6-0. I mean, it looks like a setup fight. This Belluardo guy looked terrible in his last fight, and Marco Madsen with that wrestling pedigree, I don't even know if his striking is any good, but that wrestling pedigree, you'd have to imagine this guy is going to win this fight. So it looks like a good signing. I actually don't really know too much about him, but just based on what I've seen just now, I mean, geez, like this looks like a crazy signing for UFC. Looks like a really smart signing. So that card takes place at the end of September. That's the Jack Hermanson versus Jared Cannonier card. Let me just see if I missed anything as far as the news goes. I think got everything I wanted. I did mention the Colby Covington media scrum at American Top Team. Jorge Masvidal also did a scrum, and he basically said he wants to fight Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz wants to fight, and it's basically going to come down to money. Is the UFC going to pay them what they deserve? And he also said he does not want to fight in New York City. Masvidal doesn't want to fight California either, apparently, due to taxes. So I think it's going to take place on the Las Vegas card at the end of the year. If I had to guess right now, it's going to be Masvidal versus Diaz, Nunes versus Durandamy, and Jones versus Blachowicz. That would be my guess for that card. That's just my guess. We'll see what happens. Maybe they don't put the Jones fight on there. Maybe they just do Nunes, GDR, and Masvidal Diaz. Maybe they feel like that sells. But imagine it was Jones, Masvidal Diaz, and Nunes on the same card. That would be a good card. That would be a big card. UFC's all about big cards. But at the same time, I know that they want to obviously have a good co-main event for that card in New York, which, again, I believe will be headlined by Covington versus Usman. But we don't know yet. The fact that they are announcing so many fights for it, though, makes me feel like they will announce that soon. I know Usman is still hurt, so they can't announce it yet. But hopefully they get him back soon healthy. I mean, the guy's got to defend his belt. It's been about 6 months now. He's got to get going again. Great fighter, but got to defend your belt. So I think that's all I want to talk about. I keep refreshing best fight odds, hoping that the odds have dropped, but nope. We just had Mitrione and Karatanov still. So hopefully those drop maybe today, in time for the card tomorrow. Maybe no odds drop. I hope not. Hopefully there is some odds to bet on because that card's good. You can go back and watch yesterday's show. And I broke down Bellator 225 in totality. It talked about all the fights in the card pretty much. There are some really good fights in that prelim. So looks like a pretty good card tomorrow for Bellator. Guys, enjoy watching that. It's Friday afternoon here. I can't believe that the summer's almost done. I mean, technically, I guess it runs into September, but for me, summer's basically done at the end of August, and it's August 23rd. So this summer's gone by really quick. I hope you guys have had a great summer. I've had a pretty good summer. But I am looking forward to September. That's when my birthday is. That's when Khabib fights Poirier. That's when Cowboy fights Gaethje. So there's some good fights coming up. We're almost there, guys. One more week. Thanks again for tuning in. You guys can follow me at MMAOB. This podcast is available at MMAOddsbreaker.com on our YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Tell your friends about it. And also check me out at bjpen.com and MMARings.net. Guys, have an amazing day. Thanks for joining me again, as always. And I will talk to you soon. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll be back Monday breaking down the latest in the world of mixed martial arts. Have a great weekend, guys.